Islands Prison Service aims to help rehabilitate its inmates. One of the main goals of having programs in place to help continue the rehabilitation work that is needed is to lower the recidivism rate.
First of all, I think it's really important to state that prison service alone is not responsible for rehabilitation. People come into prison for a number of reasons and spend quite often very limited periods of time with us, and within that period of time I think there's an expectation that prison is going to provide some kind of panacea for change, and that's not always the case. The prison service cannot rehabilitate people on its own, so we rely hugely on having really effective partnerships with other agencies. So we work really closely, particularly with the Department of Community Rehabilitation and also from kind of law enforcement side, very strongly with police and CBC, Customs and Border Control, kind of on a number of other kind of security related kind of matters. However, in terms of rehabilitation, the approach is a fairly complex one with a very simple message. Prisoners will come into custody with a number of criminogenic needs. Those needs need to be identified. So at the start of someone's journey, the prisoner's journey, we undertake some risk assessments and assessments of need. And those assessments of need will identify gaps and strengths in people's, in terms of people's circumstances. And once we identify what those gaps and needs are, that then generates a series of referrals to programs, to education, to other service providers. And initially it's about getting someone stable, to getting them to the point where they feel that they can then engage with the other opportunities that exist within the prison service. And from that we then coordinate access and attendance at these opportunities. But those opportunities kind of need to be accessed at the appropriate time in someone's sentence. So certainly we don't want to wait until the very last moment before someone's attending the conditional release board for someone then to kind of cram a whole load of activities into their sentence and expect that that will kind of convince the conditional release board that they have done enough to reduce their risk to the public. What we're looking for is sustained engagement and motivation to engage with us over the period of their sentences. So really, to kind of get to the end of a longer story, the prison service quite simply wants to make a difference in the lives that people live going forward. For many people, and I've mentioned this earlier, kind of prison can often feel like the end of a life rather than the start of something, where it doesn't really need to be like that. Notwithstanding the fact that many of the people here have caused significant harm to their victims and significant harm to their communities, if we just accept that that's the way it's going to be, then rehabilitation will never really transpire. So there needs to be hope that when people are in custody, that when they leave, that they are joining communities from which they are not going to be extracised from, and that they'll have opportunities to transform their lives. Our job is about engaging with those opportunities and about driving that transformation. Otherwise, people who are not yet victims of crime will become victims of crime because we don't generate the change we need to generate from the people we've got, whilst we have them. Vocational training, well actually that gives a qualification. So when people go to future employers or have opportunities to be interviewed for positions, what they can very much have is an enriched CV with kind of qualifications that might be specific to that particular field that they're looking to access opportunities in. But the rehabilitation is more than the VT qualifications as well. So not everyone will have the opportunity to access the VT opportunities. So we do other things as well. So for many people, it's really important to have a restorative element to their sentence. So we are very keen to engage with community-based projects where prisoners who might not be currently engaged with the VT programmes have opportunities to pay back to the communities in which they may have harmed by doing community-facing work. So, and we've done a number of community-based projects over a long period of time, and the prisoners are very happy to engage with that, and we're very happy to engage it as well, because that brings social benefits. But we also have a wide range of kind of educational programmes in here that are around kind of English and maths and the typical school related subjects, but we also do other IT-based learnings, all of which kind of lead to qualifications. And in this year we've had over 100 kind of prisoners who have passed through our educational system here, who have left with qualifications at higher levels than what they came into prison with. And that's a really kind of good outcome for them, and it's a really good outcome for us as well. But underneath that, really importantly, is the work that our clinical team does in here, so our counsellors and our programme staff and our psychology staff, because what these guys get into are the nuts and bolts as to why people have actually came to prison in the first place, and they address the issues that might be driving kind of criminal lifestyles. And the work that they do is significantly influential in driving change in individuals and groups of individuals. And the evidence that that then enables us to do is make much better assessments as to whether or not someone remains a high, medium or low risk to the community.
The new program does wonders for the inmates here, and when you get to see the inmates learn and actually apply what they have learned, then that gives you the sense of joy. It makes what we have gone through very worthwhile.
We've recognized that over the last 20 years, the recidivism rate in the Cayman Islands has only escalated. And the major contributions to that has been inmates not being trained prior to leaving the prison system. We want to work on that. We want to do something about that. And it's important now that before an inmate proceeds to the outside world, that we ensure that that person is trained. They stand a better chance of being successful in the workforce and overall being successful in their life. Over the last 2 years, I've personally interviewed perhaps well over 60 employers from the construction industry, the human resources industry, and also we've also cast our net even wider to the hospitality industry. The major things that have come out of those interviews have been our people aren't trained. And I also wanted to find out what exactly are they looking for. With the construction industry, one of the profound things that they basically have said to me is that we can help provide skill training. What we cannot do right now is the employability training. So we sought out to invest in an employability program that would prepare our people for the world at work. It just so happened that the organization, the National Center for Construction and Education and Research, have that particular program. So we invested heavily in ensuring that that program became ours and we Caymanized it. Hence, we then sought out to find out what exactly does the construction industry want, what does the automotive industry want, and what does the hospitality industry in terms of offering dive courses want. They've, especially the construction industry, they've highlighted 5 courses: carpentry, construction craft laborer, plumbing, electrical, and AC repair. They've said we have major shortages in those 5 particular areas, and in addition to that, this is where all of the work permits are. They need more Caymanians that are certified or accredited, but they also need them to come in with the understanding and the attitude of I'm ready to get onto a workforce. In addition to that, they simply don't want workers anymore. They want professionals who are wanting to have a career path. So that's what we are doing. We are no longer talking about jobs. We're talking about careers. We're no longer talking about a paycheck. We're talking about a salary. We're no longer talking about just showing up, but we're talking about taking initiative to do more. We're also wanting people to have a clear understanding that they need benefits, they need health insurance, they need pension. As our population ages, there's loads of more restraints that's placed on our people on our government. So we want to make sure that people are retiring with dignity. Therefore, they have to start to contribute to their retirement as early as possible. Because we know that if we can ensure that people in our prison system are trained up and have an easier transition into the workforce, we would have won. It costs our country now perhaps well over $70,000 to rehabilitate an inmate. We want to make sure that we can contribute to bringing those numbers down. More Caymanians have to be trained. As we continue to fit on a global platform, it's now becoming more competitive, and we know that with a police record, it gives inmates a huge disadvantage. So therefore, preparing them for the world of work has to be the way forward at this point in time.
It has given me an opportunity that has been afforded to me by the prison and also by Mr. Michael Miles and his team, which I'm very appreciative of and very grateful and thankful for. Because whilst going through the program, it enforced and issued out to us inmates, decency, integrity, commitment, and excellence, and professionalism. And it's up to me now to add the success to the end. My next step from here is to undertake the core aspect of plumbing, which I intend to take all the way even after I leave the prison, because I have a passion for plumbing, and I have a lot of years experience in it, but the only issue I had before was that I wasn't certified. So this has given me an opportunity to become certified.
It's been a great experience so far. I'm very grateful with the people taking part in this course, the trainers, and the people that actually put it in place. We actually completed the tools for success part, which is one of the phases of the course, and it has given us the confidence and the knowledge to know that we are capable of finishing this great thing that we're doing right now. It's a big chance and a great opportunity for me to become a better human being and a better social human being. So I give thanks and gonna keep being part of this course. We're gonna be doing now the second phase of the course, which is the part the core. Is the part where we learn actually to use the tools that are gonna be part of our training, of course. And so after this, we're gonna jump to the third phase, which is the level 1 of the course, where we actually start to learn about our own fields. I am part of the auto mechanic shop. So I am planning on becoming a master mechanic in the future.
Rehabilitation is the reason that we exist. And it's about protecting the public. And we protect the public in two ways: by keeping people in a secure environment, but also by driving change and helping people to kind of divert their lives away from criminal lifestyles when they move out. And for some, we're successful with that. For far too many, we're not. But it's more than just about VT. It's a kind of collective of interventions that are intended to achieve common outcomes for prisoners, which is improvements across a number of different deficits, gaps, but also where prisoners have strengths, where we can demonstrate that we've given some additional social capital to people, just to make life chances after prison much better. Because what we don't want is people going back out to a position where they feel hopeless and helpless. That doesn't help.